Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Every year on the anniversary of the creation of the channel, I film a video. It's normally scripted, but I didn't even take the time to do that this time, so I'm going to see if I can make it through covering a few subjects. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is the fact that I'm going into season 7. That's exciting because that means I've been doing this for over 6 years. The first 5 I came out every weekend, and then in season 4 I think I took off like 3.5 months, but this is very exciting to be looking at the next year and some of the stuff that I'm going to want to do. I'm currently working on doing a private photo shoot at a studio where I'll have access to vehicles to come into the space, and I'm working on getting some models for that. Originally I had all of my models lined up. There were names that I had of models that I was going to use, but I've either lost touch with them or I can't remember who they are. The idea of the photo shoot in August is kind of getting my friends together and promoting their brands as well as promoting my shirts and my other merch. So I just needed to get a video out. I do it every year and I didn't want to miss this one. I know it's technically late because I usually do the video on, I think I try and do it the day before the 25th, but anyway. So one of the things that I definitely want to talk about as far as what's coming up is a season 7 and my merch, my shirts. I'm working on hats. I have stuff that I want to put my logo on. And so if this is stuff that you guys are interested in, one way to support what I'm doing is by going to my website and buying shirts. And the only place to find a link to the store is on my TikTok right now. So something that I wanted to do in this video was that I wanted to kind of do a look back on what I've covered in the last 6 years, things that I've seen and relationships that I've been able to form, friendships that I've been able to have because of doing this, and also kind of looking back on why I started doing this in the first place, why I started doing what I'm doing, which, for lack of a better word, it's just a documentary. I'm creating videos that I hope reflect what was going on in the automotive enthusiast community in DFW between 2018 and 2023. Is basically what I was attempting. So the other thing that I avoided most of the time was appearing on camera myself. I did make the exception for this video, and I make an exception for the video every year because I have something that I need to put out. I need it to be a tradition. I need it to happen every year, and that's what I'm trying to do with this video. So hopefully this is not the first video on my channel that you've ever watched, because this is not representative of what I do on my channel. What my channel is about is car culture, specifically the car culture that's going on in DFW. I have gone to Las Vegas and Chicago for Mecum and Barrett Jackson, but I focus most of my coverage and most of the footage that I'm making on things that are going on in DFW. And so when you watch my videos, you're not going to see a lot of me in the video because I'm trying to focus my attention on what vehicles have showed up to the event, possibly who's at the event. And so I say that to say this, which is, if I'm gonna make content every day, and I'm going to try and put out a video of something on a daily basis or even a bi-weekly basis, I can't continue to have a faceless channel. The channel will have to consist of videos of talking heads, basically my sitting in front of this backdrop, or maybe me at a parking lot or something. I can car spot, but it's just not the same as what I've kind of built my brand around, which is car meets, car shows, actual active participatory car culture in DFW. I'm sure people appreciate the car spotting, and that's a lot of fun for me, but those are usually just short segments. There's not usually a lot of in-depth coverage with those. So, and I think that maybe one of the segments that I'll start in the interest of creating content would be a segment where I just talk about some of the events that I've already gone to, and maybe videos of me watching the video and then being able to go, okay, here's who that is, or here's what I remember about the event, and kind of commentary from me to make sure that if you weren't there, or if it's not something that you know a lot about, I can kind of help hold your hand and walk you through what it is that you're seeing. There's a lot of people in car culture now that were not a part of car culture in 2018 and 2019. And that's another thing that I think I'm really excited about highlighting, is the fact that there are certain members of car culture here in DFW that have been staples and have been steadfast in the car culture since before I would started. There's accolades that I had wanted to say, to claim ownership of, and on re-examining, for example, the idea that I may have attended or covered more events than anyone in DFW, I think about Graphics 84. He is definitely attended, and he usually films when he's there. I know it's just some basic coverage, but he has definitely attended more events in DFW car culture than I have. He might even know about more of the events than I do. So there's always another crown holder, but I stand on my merit. I put in a good effort to create a document of what car culture looked like and what it turned into. There were definitely vendors that came out in 2018, but I just don't feel like car culture was appreciated as much by the corporate element, and I think they started to see traction in 2019, because in 2020 everything kind of shut down, and I even took a break until I can't remember what month, but I stepped away for a little bit. But it's grown so much. I've watched the local car culture really mature and thrive, and I've seen the corporate interest. I've seen small businesses popping up, like Top Picks Diecast is one of my favorites. It's just literally a mom and her son selling Hot Wheels, selling diecast, and enjoying car culture, and being productive and active members of car culture, supporting car culture by coming out to these events and providing a service. Another great example for me is Smoke Some Q, which is a man who makes some barbecue, and he provides a service. He comes out to car meets all the time. I just keep seeing him, and I'm always glad when I do, because he's got really good food, And if you ever see Smoke Some Q, you be sure and come hungry. So there's been a lot of growth. There's been a lot of change. Like I said, there are people that are still around, but I feel like those numbers are smaller than the majority. I definitely saw a lot of young people, and even, like, for example, the college events that we had at UT Arlington and now here in UNT in Denton. So I'm just very excited to continue to re-edit everything I've already done and try and make it a little more watchable. The footage that I started with, the first season, the second season, I might go into the third season, but the idea is that there's a lot of content out there that doesn't have any watermark. It doesn't have I started out probably for more than a year without any kind of editing software. So when I finally got editing software, my style changed. A lot of the things that I was doing changed. My formats changed. So I need to go back and revisit everything that I put out without editing software. So I'm here at my vlog spot. It's in the garage and it's hot out, so I'm just sitting in the garage because this is the spot where I'm going to vlog from. I've taken a lot of time in creating this spot. I need to continue to work on the area, but I may finish out the garage as far as insulation and drywall and like actually finish it as a proper space, and then create some type of studio I can work in where if I want to have someone over for a podcast, or if I want to film something, or I want to record something, I have a space that's got some insulation to it, that's kind of quiet, that I can operate reliably. So one of the things I was just remembering is that I always do shout outs at the end of my video that commemorates the end of the season or the beginning of a new season. And so in order to do that, I want to shout out some names that are on the top of my head. I can think of very easily. They've been very supportive, and I want to shout them out in this video. The number one is a man named Eric. His Instagram is 3.8. He's a weightlifter, and he came out to an event, and he shows a lot of support, and I really appreciate him. Another huge supporter that I am a huge fan of, and I always try and give him props and shout out, is Careless. Evan over at Careless, the entire team at Careless. They're just the most wonderful people, and we really appreciate all their support. I also want to shout out to Urban Racing, because those guys are awesome. They have been very supportive. They've been very welcoming if they have an event, and I can make it out there. They've been very welcoming to me at their events, and it's been an honor to cover all the amazing things that those guys are doing right now. Shout out to Monday Night Madness. Shout out to Eli Hall for all of his support and all the support of the Monday Night Madness team. Everything that they're doing there, because those guys have also been very welcoming, and it's been an honor to cover all of their events that I've been able to cover. And then there's some brands that I'm just simply a fan of that I want to shout out, because I want them to see my support. I want them to know that my support is there, and that would be Jesse's Performance. I'm a big fan of their builds and their entire team. Those guys are all great, and I want to shout out to them. Jotech is the other company that I'm a big fan of. I love what they do. Kenny over at Jotech, just everyone over there on the team. They're all, again, amazing people, and they've been very supportive. They've been very welcoming, and I really appreciate they come out to events all the time. And so the last thing that I want to talk about is something that I've mentioned to other people in the past. It's something that I'm very excited about, but I'm optimistic, and that is for car culture in DFW and around the country to have some type of representation in our government. I know that there may be some people out there that are very cynical about government, but my point is simply, even if we were to have someone representing our interests in our local government, because there's definitely an anti-car culture element in our government now. You can see it in the way that we're losing infrastructure. You can see it in the policies and the way that it's reflected by the government officials that we interact with. I just want to say to anybody that has the resources or the interest to create some type of representation in our local government right now, and then in the future, statewide and whatever, to help support car culture, chill car culture, not takeover culture, but car culture where it's people that are just trying to share the love. That kind of car culture, in my opinion, should have representation. And so if you agree with me, if this is something that you can get behind, if this is something that you can at least show your support for, leave a comment. Contact us on Instagram with a DM. Send an email. Or buy a shirt. Do something that's going to support local car culture in your own way. And that really can be as simply as there's a car meet down the street from your house. Your car's your favorite and you want to share it. Go to the meet. Follow the rules of the event. If they allow two-stepping, then do the two-stepping during the two-step time. If they don't allow loud music, don't play loud music. Show support for your local car culture. Come out to events. If you see a vendor and you have a couple dollars and you can do it, buy something from the vendor, because he came out to the event and showed support for the meet, for the car show. I think in conclusion, I just want to say that I've worked really hard over the last few years, and I'm very proud of what I've done. I'm still on the road to 1,000 subscribers on the channel, so if you're watching this, subscribing to the channel would be amazing. And if you're still watching this, then thank you for all your support, because it really makes a huge difference. Be sure and hit the like button on there so YouTube knows that you were here, and if you don't mind, put a comment on the video. Tell me about something that you're interested in car culture, or maybe you have never met me before and you want to know where I'm going to be next.